Hello students, let's begin with the new chapter which is breathing and exchange of gases. In this chapter we will discuss about the process of breathing and further exchange of gases in this process. Breathing, the process of exchange of O2 from the atmosphere with CO2 produced by the cells. Respiratory organs, direct respiration by diffusion from the environment such as in sponges, coelenterate, flatworms, etc. In cutaneous or by skin. In this type of respiration, which is called as cutaneous respiration, in earthworm, this type of respiration is mainly performed. Tracheal system. In this type of respiration, a system is formed in which a narrow tube-like structure which is surrounded in the wall body surface. This is known as tracheal system, or this type of respiration is called as tracheal respiration. This is mainly performed in insects. In aquatic earthworms or mollusks, gills acts as a respiratory organ, so this is called as respiration by gills. In terrestrial forms such as in mammals and vertebrates and other terrestrial forms, lungs act as a respiratory organ. So in this type of respiration, lung performs the respiration process. Now let's begin with the new topic. This is known as human respiratory system. In human respiratory system, the external nostril opens into the nasal chamber through nasal passage. The nasal chamber opens into the nasopharynx. Nasopharynx open through glottis of the larynx into the trachea. Larynx is a cartilaginous box which produce sound, hence called sound box. Cartilaginous epiglottis covers the glottis during swallowing to prevent entry of food into trachea. Trachea is a straight tube extending up to thin thoracic cavity, which divides into right and left primary bronchi at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae. Each bronchus undergoes repeated divisions to form the secondary and tertiary bronchi and bronchioles, ending up in very thin terminal bronchioles. Trachea, primary, secondary, and tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles are supported by cartilaginous rings. Each terminal bronchiole gives rise to a number of very thin, irregular walled and vascularized bags like structure, which is called as alveoli. The branching network of bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli comprises the lungs. There are two lungs which are covered by a double layered pleura with pleural fluid in them. Lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber, which is anatomically a airtight chamber. The thoracic chamber is formed dorsally by vertebral column, ventrally by sternum, laterally by ribs, on the lower side by dome-shaped diaphragm. Respiration involves in following steps: breathing or pulmonary ventilation, by which atmospheric air is drawn in and CO2 rich alveolar air is released out. Diffusion of gases O2 and CO2 across alveolar membrane. Transport of respiratory gases by blood. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 between blood and tissues. Utilization of O2 by the cells for catabolic reactions and resultant release of CO2. Now let's talk about the mechanism of breathing. That means how breathing is mainly performed. During inspiration, which is a intake of atmospheric air into the lungs, during inspiration, it occurs if the pressure within the lungs, that is the intake of atmospheric into the lungs, it occurs if the pressure within the lungs, intrapulmonary pressure, that is the pressure within the lungs, is lower than the atmospheric pressure. Contraction of diaphragm, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior posterior axis. The contraction of external intercostal muscles lifts up the ribs and sternum, causing an increase in the volume of thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. It causes an increase in pulmonary volume, decrease the intrapulmonary pressure to less than the atmospheric pressure. It forces the air outside to move into the lungs, that is inspiration. Now, expiration. Expiration. Relaxation of diaphragm and intercostal muscles returns the diaphragm and sternum to their normal positions and reduce the thoracic and pulmonary volume. It increases in intrapulmonary pressure slightly above the atmospheric pressure. It causes the expulsion of air from the lungs, that is expiration. A healthy man breathes 12 to 16 times per minute. The volume of air involved in breathing is estimated by spirometer. Now, respiratory volumes and capacities. First is tidal volume. Volume of air inspired or expired during a normal breathing. It is about 500 ml. Next is inspiratory reserve volume. Additional volume of air a person inspired by a forceful inspiration. It is about 2500 to 3000 ml. Next is expiratory reserve volume. Additional volume of air a person expires by a forceful expiration. It is about 1000 to 1100 ml. Residual volume. Volume of air remaining in the lungs even after a forceful expiration. It is about 1200 ml. Next is inspiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity. It includes tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. Next is expiratory capacity. It includes tidal volume and expiratory reserve volume. Now, functional residual capacity. Functional residual capacity. This includes expiratory reserve volume and residual volume, which is around 3600 to 4000 ml. Now, the next is vital capacity. Vital capacity is mainly inspiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. This is called as vital capacity. We know inspiratory reserve volume is 2500 ml to 3000 ml, tidal volume is 500 ml, and expiratory reserve volume is 1000 or 1100. This is of around 4000 to 4600 ml of air. Total lung capacity. Total lung capacity includes residual volume, inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, and expiratory reserve volume. Exchange of gases. Alveoli are the primary site of exchange of respiratory gases. Exchange of gases also takes place between blood and tissues. Exchange of O2 and CO2 take place in the pressure gradient by simple diffusion. Pressure contributed by an individual gas in a mixture of gases is called the partial pressure and is represented by PO2, that is partial pressure of O2 for oxygen and partial pressure of CO2 for carbon dioxide. Now let's see how this diffusion of O2 takes place. When the alveolar air, when the partial pressure of O2 in alveolar air is 104 mm of Hg and partial pressure of O2 in venous blood is 40 mm of Hg, then O2 diffuses from alveoli to venous blood. This is the diffusion. Next is the diffusion of CO2. Partial pressure of CO2 is venous blood is of about 45 mm of Hg, and the partial pressure of CO2, that is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, is in alveolar air is of about 40 mm of Hg. Then the diffusion of CO2 takes place from venous blood to the alveoli. Now Solubility of CO2 is 20 to 25 times higher than that of O2. The amount of CO2 that can diffuse through the diffusion membrane per unit difference in partial pressure is much higher compared to that of O2. Respiratory membrane is formed by thin squamous epithelium of the alveoli, endothelium of alveolar capillaries, basement membrane between them. Now transport of gases. Blood. Blood is the medium of transport of O2 and CO2. About 97% of O2 is transported by RBCs in the blood. 3% of O2 is transported in the plasma in dissolved state. 20 to 25% of CO2 transported in the RBC in the form of carbaminohemoglobin. 70% CO2 carried as bicarbonate ion in plasma and 7% CO2 transported in dissolved state in plasma. Now, transport of oxygen. Hemoglobin is red colored pigment present in the RBCs. Now, O2 binds with hemoglobin reversibly to form oxyhemoglobin. Each hemoglobin can bind maximum with 4 oxygen molecules. Binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is primarily related with partial pressure of O2. Now, partial pressure of CO2, hydrogen ion concentration, the temperature are the factors that influence this binding. A sigmoid curve is obtained when percentage of saturation of hemoglobin with O2 is plotted against the partial pressure of O2. This curve is called oxygen dissociation curve. Now, the conditions which are favorable for binding of hemoglobin with oxygen at alveolar level. These are high partial pressure of oxygen, low H plus ion concentration and low temperature. Now, the conditions favorable for dissociation of hemoglobin and oxygen, that means oxygen associated with hemoglobin into hemoglobin and O2 at tissue level. These are low partial pressure of O2, high H plus ion concentration, high temperature. Now, every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver around 5 ml of O2 to the tissues under normal physiological conditions. Transport of carbon dioxide. 20 to 25% of CO2 is carried out in the RBC by binding with the free amino group of hemoglobin by formation of carbaminohemoglobin. The formula is here the carbaminohemoglobin is formed in this carbon dioxide and this aminohemoglobin, which is catalyzed by carbonic anhydrase. This type of reaction takes place. Now, when partial pressure of CO2 is high and partial pressure of O2 is low, as in the tissues, more binding of CO2 occurs, whereas when the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low and partial pressure of oxygen is high, as in the alveoli, dissociation of carbon dioxide from carbaminohemoglobin takes place. 70% of carbon dioxide transported in the form of, this is in the carbonate form, HCO3 minus, in the plasma, this is the bicarbonate form. Carbon dioxide from the tissue diffused into the plasma and along with the water it forms carbonic acid, which dissociated into bicarbonate ion and H plus ion. This reaction is catalyzed by an enzyme called carbonic anhydrase present in the plasma membrane of RBC and plasma. Carbonic anhydrase here acts as a catalyst. CO2 plus HO2. Now H2CO3 carbonic acid. Now let's talk about the regulation of respiration, how respiration is regulated. Specialized center present in the medulla region of the brain called respiratory rhythm center is primarily responsible for regulation of breathing. Pneumotaxis Center of pons region of brain has moderate regulation. Neural signal from this center can reduce the duration of inspiration and alter the rate of respiration. Chemosensitive area adjacent to rhythm center is sensitive to carbon dioxide and H plus ion. Now, receptors associated with aortic arch and carotid artery also can recognize changes in the carbon dioxide and H plus concentration and send necessary signals to the rhythm center for remedial actions. Now let's talk about the disorders of respiratory system. These are asthma. It is a difficulty in breathing causing wheezing due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. This is called as asthma. Emphysema, a chronic disorder in which alveolar walls are damaged due to which respiratory surface is decreased. It caused due to smoking. This is the emphysema. Now with this disorders of respiratory system, this chapter ends. In the next lecture we will talk about the next subject. So if you like this lecture, then please don't forget to if you like this chapter, please don't forget to subscribe it and share among your friends. If you like this, then please don't forget to subscribe it among your friends.